Welcome back to Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. It's a Monday morning. It is on the other side now of this ice storm. Whew, we made it. We survived. Majestic Storm here in the studio, working so hard over the weekend. Thank you for the coverage. I was just telling you that those shots from Storm Tracker, looking at the roads, when was that? Was that Saturday night? It's all one big blur to me when you guys were out on the road Saturday night.
It was yesterday.
See, yesterday morning after
Wait,
everything.
wasn't it? I'm confused. Yeah, Sunday. Yesterday. We're like, what in the world? Where are we?
Yeah, exactly. It's all one long day for us here. But this is what we do, and we want to be there for you. This is when it matters, Majestic. And
Absolutely.
but now we're dealing with these this Arctic sort of weather, isn't it?
Yeah, so the ice storm, all done, but boy, did we see the sleet, we saw the freezing rain. Our forecast verified, and now back behind it, we're looking at bitter cold temperatures. Let's just get straight into it because we really have a lot to talk about. Thankfully, no more precipitation. Live camera looks coming in all around on this Monday. It is beautiful, starting to see that sunshine right there in Kannapolis. I love that camera there. Beautiful blue sunny skies. You can see the baseball field right there. That's not snow, that is sleet with a layer of that freezing rain on top. It's that kind of precipitation where if you're walking, it's very crunchy, it's very loud. I noticed in a lot of the parking lots, it is still a little bit slushy / slick, so it's not perfectly clear. I was doing traffic all morning long on WCNC, and honestly, a lot of the roads, I-77, I-85, continue to look really good. Big shout out to NCDOT, SCDOT, really working long hours to try to do their best to make sure at least the main roads are cleared so essential workers can get to work. If you had an emergency, at least you were able to drive. Now let's talk about our sleet totals, all right? So we're seeing some of the totals right here. Gamewell accumulating 3 inches of sleet. Now if you're wondering where that is, it's just north of Morganton. So that's where we saw some of the highest sleet totals. Morganton, 2 inches of sleet. Belmont, 1.2. Mount Holly, just over 1 inch. Davidson, about 1 inch of sleet. Uptown, about 1 inch as well. So yesterday, if you were paying attention to the weather, whether you're just looking outside your window or you were outside, you saw those little sleet pellets coming down. And remember, that's just those ice pellets falling from the sky. And then on top of that, we had the freezing rain. So truly, this ice storm continuing to impact the Carolinas all day yesterday. We're still seeing some impacts out there today as far as the roads go and things like that. But this was a massive storm system that brought crazy amount of winter weather from areas like Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, of course, Nashville really getting hit with the biggest impacts there when it comes to the ice storm, up and down the Carolinas and then all the way up to the East Coast. So widespread impacts. Freezing rain totals. Concord, you got slammed with that freezing rain. You had a layer of that sleet, the freezing rain on top of it. It was that type of weather where you go outside and everything is just frozen over, especially cars. If you haven't warmed up your car over the last couple of days, I know a lot of people here at the station have not drove their cars, and you can tell which ones those are. I mean, their cars are just completely frozen over. Here in Charlotte, we got about 1/4 of an inch of freezing rain in addition to about 1 inch of sleet. So bottom line, that's ice on ice. That is not even snow that we saw, although when I was in the storm tracker yesterday, I saw so many kids out sledding on hills. They were having the best day, having fun, making the most of their sleet day, I guess you could say, freezing rain day. Let's break down our winter weather alerts. Yesterday and Saturday, we had so many states in the country highlighted under winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings, ice storm warnings, and now still this morning, much of our viewing area is still under winter weather advisory. So are we improving? Most definitely. A lot of our states across the country are no longer under any advisories or warnings, but we'll stay under winter weather advisories until 1 o'clock this afternoon. And the National Weather Service issued this because while the precipitation is all done and over with, we are still seeing some slick and icy spots, especially on bridges, on ramps, off ramps. Here's one of our live cameras outside this morning. This is I-485 out near Oakdale Road. So you can tell most of the roads, they look okay. They look wet, but if you're you're just traveling too fast, maybe you hit kind of the side where there is still a little sleet and ice, you could quickly go off of the road. And we've seen that a couple of times this morning, but overall, I was pretty impressed with how everyone was driving this morning. Another live camera, this one's coming in from South Carolina, so I-77 at Harris Road. Very nice conditions here, starting to even see some drying. So the best part of our forecast today, the ice storm is over. We'll get sunshine this afternoon, many of us already seeing that, and our temperatures will start to rise above that freezing mark. So overall, a lot of the ice that's on the ground now, it will slowly start to melt. Another part of the forecast this morning is that we've been dealing with fog, pockets of heavy fog, especially up in the high country, and unfortunately that's where temperatures really are still cold. So it's not just fog, it's freezing fog, and when you have fog and below freezing temperatures, the fog can actually freeze onto surfaces. So if you're watching from the mountains, honestly, that's been my watch spot when I was doing traffic this morning, because that's where we have those rural roads where, you know, the roads haven't been treated as well and where it is still very slick and icy. So watch for that. Current temperatures right now, we're mainly into the 20s and 30s, 33 degrees in Charlotte, so just above freezing. But look at the mountains. I mean, the mountains truly still struggling this morning. 17 degrees there in Boone and Jefferson. And then you add some wind on top of it, and it feels like you're below zero in the mountains. So again, not seeing the best conditions when it comes to traveling in the mountains, and it really does not feel good. It feels like it's 27 degrees here in Charlotte. The winds are playing a huge role in what our friends in the mountains are feeling this morning. Those winds moving in from the northwest, I mean, it is cold, cold Arctic air. Some of our winds gusting around 40 miles an hour on top of temperatures only in the teens. So it makes sense why you step outside the door this morning in the mountains and it feels like you're below zero. So dangerously cold conditions still. I've actually seen some of the sleet and a little bit of the snowfall that the mountains got on roofs. It's kind of like blowing all around. You'll notice that if you actually do have to be traveling. In Charlotte, a little bit breezy today, but truly the winds will continue to linger throughout the day today and into tomorrow for the mountains. National Weather Service also has cold weather alerts still in place for all people in our viewing area. If you're in a county shaded in blue, that's a cold weather advisory, meaning yes, today is going to be cold, but we're seeing that dangerous cold. Just like what I mentioned, Ashe, Watauga, Avery counties, you're under extreme cold warnings throughout the rest of the day today and into our Tuesday, because it's going to feel like you're below zero for multiple hours in a row. So really prepare for this. You know, this has been a part of our weather story that we've been talking about, is the potential for this ice storm, the potential for the snow like we saw. Our forecast verified, and now we need you to really pay attention to that brutal cold up in the mountains, because that's where it is truly dangerous. Here's a live camera look coming in from Blowing Rock. You can tell how windy it is by just looking at the flag and the power lines there. A lot of that snow and sleet blowing all across the roads, limited visibility because of that, plus the fog as well. So they're definitely thinking about everyone up in the mountains, because that is where the weather is the worst today. Meanwhile, in Charlotte, I'm loving the sunshine. I think a lot of people are really enjoying that as well. So remember, big story today in Charlotte, temperatures are rising above freezing. We like that. We like the sunshine. So a lot of that ice is going to slowly melt throughout the day. I don't think it's all going to melt, and I surely do not think all of it is going to dry out. So then here's the problem. We have the melting throughout the day, and then look at our overnight lows tonight. These will be some of the coldest temperatures that we've seen since 2024 or so. 11 degrees overnight in Charlotte. Single digits up in the mountains, 1 degree in Boone, 3 degrees in Jefferson. We're looking at Hickory at 9 degrees for you and Statesville, 15 degrees out across Cheraw. So below freezing tonight. Still make sure your house is ready for this bitter cold, including your pipes. Wind chills in the mountains. This is what it will feel like when you factor in the wind on top of those really cold temperatures. We could see wind chill values drop down to about 15 to 20 below zero. I mean, if you have any outdoor pets, please bring them inside. They should already be inside, because this is just brutally cold. And if you work outside in the elements, hopefully you don't have to work out there when it's this cold. But if you do, you just really want to avoid having any exposed skin when it's that cold. A lot of people are always curious, when do you need to actually drip your faucets, open up your cabinets? Definitely suggest doing that tonight and into Tuesday, but it wouldn't be a bad idea even into Wednesday and Thursday, as temperatures are just going to remain really cold. Here's our Jerry Hunt Super center 7-day forecast, so enjoy the sunshine today. You will see the melting. You might notice it from your rooftops or trees, things like that. But we're just concerned that temperatures will get so cold overnight. I mean, 11 degrees here in Charlotte, single digits off to the northwest. That means tomorrow morning's commute likely will be much worse than what we saw this morning, because this morning really wasn't too bad. I was pretty impressed with what I was seeing. Tomorrow morning, though, I'm concerned that we're going to have a sheet of black ice where we have that moisture that refreezes. I think some areas will dry up nicely, but not every area. So slick and icy, dangerous road conditions tomorrow. That's why we have a WCNC weather impact alert tonight and into Tuesday morning, and then gradually warming up. But overall, this is a cold week. We should be at 53 degrees. We don't even have 50s in our 7-day forecast. And then Friday night and into Sunday, another cold front arrives. That could bring a couple more snowflakes, but look at those cold temperatures going from 43 to 27 for our high. So that's what I'm looking at, you guys. There's a lot going on for sure.
Okay. All right. We are over the worst of it, though.
Yeah,
for
definitely.
the beginning of this week, and we all survived.
We did.
Carlene made it through some crunchy ice.
So crunchy. It was slushy.
Little slush.
It was slush.
Yeah.
It was 7-Eleven slush
Yeah.
on the roads.
I noticed the slush too, and slush, it's not great to drive
No.
in,
No.
but it kind of reminds me of driving in snow compared to ice.
Correct.
Like
Right.
ice is just terrible, but if you're driving in slush, at least you have like a little bit of traction.
Little
And
grip.
it's crunch.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I thought roads were just fine, and I didn't see any big, huge accidents this
No.
morning
That's
on
good.
the roads. Not a lot of people traveling still.
No.
Right.
That's good.
Right.
I was so
yeah.
impressed by how the roads were treated. Just
Yes.
a round of applause.
Yeah,
for our
like
you
DOT
said,
crew.
shout out DOT,
they were
NC,
working
and
hard,
SC.
And it shows.
They were standing by, so
Yeah.
well
done.
planned, well
Yes.
staged, prepared for the worst.
Yes.
All right, Majestic, thanks for that.
Thank you guys.
All right.